Everyone talks about success, but nobody talks about rent.
And honestly, you guys, money stress is not just about being poor. It is about waking up and thinking, can I pay for my life this month?
So, here's the question. If money makes life easier, why does it also make so many people feel trapped? Stay with us. The answer might surprise you.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Easy English Podcast. I'm Emma.
And I'm Alex. Cheers for joining us. Quite a serious topic today, but don't worry, we'll keep it clear, useful, and only mildly painful.
Mildly painful is right. We're talking about money stress, rent, bills, food prices, saving money, and why so many people feel pressure even when they have a job.
I'll give a tiny story. When I first moved into a flat in London, I remember looking at the rent, the transport cost, and the price of a very sad sandwich, and thinking, right. So breathing is free, but everything else is rather expensive.
Oh my gosh, I totally get that. I once checked my bank account after paying rent, and I was like, no way. Did my money just leave the room?
We're going to get into something that honestly surprised even us.
Why do people in different countries feel the same money stress, even when prices and salaries are totally different?
Let's begin with rent. A surprising housing fact. The OECD describes a housing cost burden as spending more than 40% of your disposable income on rent or a mortgage. And in some countries, low-income renters face housing costs above that level.
That is a lot. Like, before you buy food, before transport, before anything fun, a huge part of your money is already gone.
Exactly. This is the cost of living. The cost of living means how much money you need for normal life. Rent, food, transport, electricity, and basic things.
So, the cost of living is basically the price of being alive in your city.
For example, the cost of living in my city is high, so I share a flat.
I love that sentence for learners. Super useful. And rent is usually the biggest dragon in the room.
Dragon is dramatic, Emma.
But true.
I'm not sure about that. Food can be just as stressful, actually.
Really? I actually think rent is more scary because rent is due every month, on a fixed day. You cannot say, sorry, landlord, I'm waiting for my feelings to improve.
Fair point. When rent is due, it means the payment date has arrived. Emma, echo that.
Yes. Rent is due means you need to pay rent now, not later.
Real-life example. My rent is due on Friday, so I can't go out this weekend.
Oh, by the way, when Alex says flat, he means apartment. British English, flat. American English, apartment.
Brilliant learner moment. And speaking of rent, here's another phrase. Make ends meet. For example, after paying rent, I can just make ends meet.
That sentence feels very real. Maybe too real.
That's interesting. Because in the next point, food prices make that problem even more personal.
Yes. Surprising fact. In many countries, people don't just worry about luxury things anymore. They worry about groceries, eggs, rice, milk, coffee, vegetables, small everyday items.
And grocery stress is sneaky. You go to the shop for 5 things, join the queue, and somehow the total looks like you bought a small boat.
Totally. I went to buy fruit, coffee, and shampoo last week. Nothing fancy. Then I saw the price and thought, okay, I guess I'm eating air today.
Emma,
I'm kidding. Mostly. But this is where people say, I'm on a tight budget.
yes. A tight budget means you do not have much extra money.
So, a tight budget is when you must be careful with every dollar, pound, euro, peso, baht, or yen.
Example, I'm on a tight budget, so I cook at home.
That's a great simple sentence. And learners can use it in real conversation.
I reckon cooking at home is often the best answer.
I'm not sure about that. Cooking saves money, for sure, but it also takes time. Some people work 2 jobs. Some people have kids. Some people are just super tired.
That is true. Sometimes save money. Advice sounds simple, but life isn't simple.
Exactly. So another useful phrase is cut back.
Cut back means to use or buy less of something.
Right. To cut back is to reduce spending. Like, I need to cut back on coffee.
Real life example. I'm trying to cut back on food delivery this month.
That one hurts. Food delivery is convenient, but tiny payments become big payments.
Wait, but here's the thing nobody talks about. We don't only spend money because we need things. Sometimes we spend money because we feel lonely, tired, or behind.
Oh, that takes us right into social pressure. Surprising fact, Deloitte's 2026 Gen Z and Millennial Survey says more than half of Gen Zs and Millennials are delaying major life decisions because of their financial situation.
That is not a small thing. Marriage, family, study, moving house, starting a business. These are life decisions.
And then people open social media and see someone buying a car, traveling to Bali, getting married, starting a company, wearing perfect clothes, living in a perfect apartment.
Which may or may not be paid for.
Exactly. Sometimes it is success. Sometimes it is credit card magic.
I once had a friend who looked very sordid online. Nice restaurants, nice clothes, fancy weekends. Then one day he said, "I'm stressed because I can't pay my bills." I was rather surprised.
That is so common. People show the highlight, not the receipt.
Brilliant line. This is financial pressure.
Financial pressure means stress caused by money problems or money expectations.
So, financial pressure is when money makes your mind feel heavy.
Example: many young people feel financial pressure because rent and food are expensive.
Here's another phrase. Live within your means.
Live within your means means spend only the money you can afford to spend.
Yes. To live within your means is to not spend more than you earn.
Real life example: I want a new phone, but I'm trying to live within my means.
I fully agree with that one.
Really? I actually think the phrase can sound a little judgmental.
How so?
Because sometimes people already live carefully, but prices are still too high. So when someone says, just live within your means, it can feel like, this is your fault.
That's a fair point. The phrase is useful, but we should use it kindly.
Exactly. And speaking of that, let's talk about saving money.
Surprising fact, many personal finance experts recommend an emergency fund, often 3 to 6 months of basic expenses. But for many people, saving even 1 month feels difficult.
Yes. And I think this is where shame appears. People hear, you should save more, and they think, I know, but with what money?
Quite. When I was younger, I tried to save money by putting coins in a jar. Very noble. Very British. Very slow.
That's cute, though.
It bought me 1 train ticket and half a sandwich.
But it started a habit. That matters.
The phrase here is emergency fund.
An emergency fund is money you save for problems, like a broken phone, a doctor visit, or losing work.
Exactly. An emergency fund is safety money.
Example, I keep a small emergency fund for unexpected bills.
Another phrase is save up for.
Save up for means to keep money over time, because you want to buy something later.
To save up for something is to collect money slowly.
Real life example, I'm trying to save up for a laptop.
I rather like that phrase. It feels hopeful.
Yes, but here's my disagreement. Some people say everyone should save before buying anything. I think that is ideal, but not always realistic.
I agree partly. Sometimes you need the laptop to work. So waiting 1 year is not possible.
Exactly. So then people use credit, loans, monthly payments, or buy now, pay later.
Wait. But here's the thing nobody talks about. Small monthly payments can feel harmless until there are 12 of them.
That is the next point. Debt and invisible spending. Surprising fact. Many people report financial regret around quick spending decisions, debt, or buying things they did not really need. A 2026 survey reported that more than 80% of respondents had at least one financial regret from 2025.
Bloody hell. That's a rather crowded regret club.
The regret club has snacks, but you paid too much for them.
I once signed up for 3 streaming services because each one had one show I fancied. Then I forgot. Months later, I realized I was paying for entertainment I was not watching.
That is so relatable. Subscriptions are quiet, little money ghosts.
Excellent phrase, but perhaps not official English.
Okay, official phrase. Impulse buy.
An impulse buy is something you buy suddenly, without planning.
Yes. An impulse buy is a fast purchase because you feel excited, sad, bored, or tempted.
Example, this jacket was an impulse buy, and now I regret it.
Another phrase is pay in installments.
To pay in installments means to pay small amounts over time, not all at once.
Right. If you pay in installments, you might pay every month.
Real life example. I decided to pay in installments for my new laptop.
I'm not sure about installments. They can help, but they can also trick you.
Really? I actually think they can be quite useful if the plan is clear and there is no interest.
For sure. But learners, be careful with the phrase hidden fees.
Hidden fees are extra costs that are not clear at first.
So hidden fees are surprise charges. Nobody likes a surprise charge.
Example. The ticket looked cheap, but there were hidden fees at the end.
Oh, by the way, when we say fees, we mean extra money you must pay for a service. Like bank fees, delivery fees, booking fees.
Very clear. And speaking of extra costs, social life can be surprisingly expensive.
Yes, surprising fact. In many big cities, the price of friendship is not official, but it is real. Coffee, dinner, transport, birthday gifts, weddings, group trips. Being social can cost a lot.
I had a friend invite me to dinner at a restaurant where the menu looked lovely and the prices looked personally aggressive.
Personally aggressive.
I looked at the bill and thought, I may need to wash dishes here until Thursday.
This is where people need polite English. For example, split the bill.
To split the bill means each person pays a part of the total cost.
Yes. Split the bill means share the payment.
Example. Shall we split the bill?
That is a very useful sentence. But cultures are different. In some countries, friends split everything. In others, one person pays. In some families, older people pay. In dating, people may disagree a lot.
I reckon splitting is clean and simple.
I'm not sure. Sometimes one friend earns a lot more. Sometimes one person ordered salad and another person ordered steak and 7 mysterious side dishes.
7 is too many side dishes.
It happens, Alex.
Another useful phrase is can't afford.
Can't afford means you do not have enough money for something, or it is not a smart choice for your budget.
Exactly. Can't afford does not always mean zero money. It can mean, this is too expensive for me now.
Example. I'd love to travel, but I can't afford it this month.
That is honest English. And honesty is better than pretending.
Exactly. And speaking of honesty, our last point is the hardest one. Talking about money.
Surprising fact. Money is one of the most universal topics, but also one of the least comfortable topics.
Totally. In the US, some people are very open about side hustles and prices, but salaries can still feel private. In other countries, asking someone's rent or salary can sound rude. In some places, families talk about money all the time because everyone shares expenses.
In Britain, we may complain about the price of everything, but asking someone directly, how much do you earn? Can feel rather violent. Socially violent.
In America, people might say, I'm doing okay, even when they are absolutely not doing okay.
The useful phrase here is money taboo.
A money taboo is something about money that people feel uncomfortable talking about.
Yes. A money taboo is a money topic people avoid.
Example. In my family, salary is a money taboo.
And the final phrase for this section. Paycheck to paycheck.
Paycheck to paycheck means your money from work is almost gone before the next payment comes.
Exactly. If you live paycheck to paycheck, you have little or no extra money after basic costs.
Example: many workers live paycheck to paycheck, even with full-time jobs.
I think this phrase is powerful because it shows stress over time, not one bad day. A cycle.
Yes. And it helps learners talk about real life, not just textbook shopping sentences like, the apple is red.
Although, at current prices, the apple may also be financially significant.
True. Wait, but here's the thing nobody talks about. Maybe the biggest money stress is not one bill. It is the feeling that you can never stop calculating. Okay, Alex, here is the most surprising idea for me. Money stress is not always about how much money you have. Sometimes it is about how safe you feel.
I strongly agree with that.
No, wait, let me finish. Someone can earn more money and still feel afraid because rent is high, healthcare is expensive, their job feels unsafe, or their family needs help.
That is rather huge. So the real question is not just, how much do you earn? It is, can your life survive one problem?
Exactly. One broken phone. One late salary. One hospital bill. One family emergency. That can change everything.
That's a bit chilling, actually.
And that is why saying, just save money can sound simple but feel impossible.
I want to push back a little. People do need habits. Budgeting matters.
For sure. But habits cannot fix every system. If rent takes half your income, your budget is not a magic wand.
That may be the most honest sentence in this episode.
Let's do a mini role play. Simple English. You are my friend. I want to go out, but I'm stressed about money.
Sorted. I'll be painfully polite.
Alex, do you fancy dinner tonight?
I'd love to, but I'm on a tight budget this week.
No problem. We can choose a cheaper place.
Cheers. Also, could we split the bill?
Totally. Or we can cook at home.
Brilliant. I'm trying to cut back on restaurants.
Same. I need to save up for my trip.
See? Clear, polite, no drama. Nobody exploded.
And that is the clip. Talking about money can feel scary, but simple, honest sentences can save friendships.
Quite. You don't need perfect English. You need useful English.
And maybe a friend who understands that not everyone can pay for sushi on a Tuesday. Yeah. Is it about better habits, better salaries, cheaper housing, family support, culture, education, or all of it?
I reckon it's all of it, which is not a neat answer. Rather annoying.
But real. And maybe that is why this topic connects people across countries. Different prices, different currencies, different cultures, but the same quiet question. Can I afford my life?
That is the question under the question.
So, what is expensive in your country? Write your answer in English in the comments. We read every single one.
You can write a simple sentence. Rent is expensive. Food is expensive. Transport is expensive. Everything is expensive. If you're feeling dramatic.
We support dramatic English practice.
Next time, let's just say it involves something most people do every single day, but never talk about.
See you next time, you guys.
Cheers.